Hello guys, this is Team NetShot. This is my first video on this channel and I figured out that I have to introduce myself. My name is Esa Obukyud. I'm a web development and I'm currently studying to becoming a software engineer. And as a web development, working with the command line is a crucial and important skill to have, to know how to move your way around the command line, how to perform tasks from within the command line. So I think that's what I made this series of videos where I talk about a lot of tools that you need to be familiar with and to be comfortable using. In today's video we're gonna talk about a command line that I like. It's the cURL, cURL, or it stands for client URL. It's a command line tool and a library for exchanging data between clients and servers. And the cURL or cURL, however you want to pronounce it, supports protocols that allow data exchange in either or both directions. It supports a lot of protocols like HTTP, HTTPS, FTP, SFTP, POP3, SMTP, a lot of protocols, but in this video we're gonna talk only about the HTTP and HTTPS protocols. So let's jump right in and start this video. If you are using any Linux distributions, the cURL tool is already installed, and I was surprised when I actually found that Windows also has cURL pre-installed. So all you need to do is hit the Windows button or type in cmd, hit enter, and you get the command line. Let me just minimize this a little bit and just type in cURL --help, and if you get output something like this, then you have cURL installed. So let me just keep this in one and open a new URL, a new command line, and the simplest command you can type using cURL is cURL HTTP and the website. Let's use www.google.com. Let me just fix this. I'm sorry. cURL HTTPS www.google.com. Let's enter, and here we have it. We got the output. Basically what that is, if you have seen this, as you can see, unlike the browsers, cURL can't render HTTP or run JavaScript, meaning that the entire response is provided to us in a raw format. So let me just go into here. If I go to the Chrome and type in google.com, hit enter, and if I open the page source, this is actually what's being returned to us by cURL. Okay, so now as we said, the simplest command you can type in with cURL is this one. Now, if you are familiar with the HTTP, I'm just fixing this. If you are familiar with HTTP and its methods, then this, how to specify the method is type in capital X and then get. It's by default, it's get by default, but you can type in post or head, any of the HTTP methods. In this example, it's get. You can specify it or leave it out. It's the default anyway. So if you type, you get, actually basically you're gonna get the same response as we did in the last command. Just wait, I'm sorry for slow internet. What did I miss? Call -get https www. Yeah, actually it's the internet. Let me just type in the command again, -get https www.google.com. and we get the same result. As you can see, we get the same result as the previous command that we have typed in. Now, as you have, let me just use it again, https www.google.com. We simply get the response, but we don't see the we get the response, but we don't see the request that we have made and what's happening before, how this connection is initiated. In order to see this information, you can use the verbose option -v and then https www.google.com. Let's enter, and now we see more information. So you can see how we have the DNS right here, and we have resolved the name www.google to this IP address, initiating the connection and encryption SSL, and this is our request that we have sent. It's a GET using on the index page using the HTTP version 1.1. And we have the host, we have the user agent, and this is the response headers that we get. Now it might be a little bit too overwhelming to see where those headers are, but there is actually a special option in cURL. It's -I HTTPS, and what this option basically does, it's instead of giving you the whole response, it's only giving you the response headers. So this is the only thing that it's giving you. If you want to show the response and the headers included, you can use lowercase a https www.google.com. It's cURL, not cute. Something is wrong. Let me just fix it. It has to be insert mode. Yes, cURL. Hit enter. -I http. Yeah, I typed in 4 W's here. www.google.com. Hit enter, and now we see we get the response, but the response as well as we got the headers. This is our command. Lowercase a to include the headers within the response, capital A to only give me the headers. Okay, so that was about showing the headers and working with the headers. Now let's see how would you work with the cookies. If I did something like cURL, let me just do it again, show the headers, https www.google.com. You see we have some cookies here, but how would you store them and why would you store them? Let's say now you have a website, and in order for you to access a resource you need to be logged in, and this website is using cookies based login authentication, so you need to pass in those cookies in order for you to access this data. So before you can pass in the cookies with the request, you actually need to catch those cookies. If we look at the help here, and this is a very important resource you're going to be referring to every time you're going to use the cURL. There is so much commands that you can remember, so always go here, check what you want, what you need to use, and instruct your command, and this is how it works. You don't need to remember all the commands, you just need to know how they work. So looking here for the cookies, yes, we have the cookie and the cookie jar. So first we need to use the cookie jar. If I say now cURL -I to show only the headers cookie jar, you specify a file where you want to store the cookies that they are going to be returned by the response. I'm gonna go something like Google cookies, and I'm gonna go https www.google.com. What did I do wrong? Yeah, you need to actually do an extension here. So let me just type it in again. Extension HTTPS txt, and the website is www.google.com. Hit enter. Now we have the response, but that's not it. We actually stored the cookies in here. So let's take a look at what's inside the content of this file. If you are using a Linux distribution, you'd use the command cat, but in Windows you use the command type, and then provide the file name Google. Hit tab to continue, hit enter, and this is our cookies. So now how would you go about sending them along with the request? So clear the screen, and now let me just do before -v to show verbose mode https www.google.com. If we look at the response, the request that we are sending, this is our request. Yeah, this is our request. We have the method, the HTTP version, we have the host header, the user agent header, and the accept header. There is no cookies. Now let's send the cookies along with the request. So curl, the way you send them is, let me do verbose again, --cookie, and you specify the file name where you store the cookies. Now https www.google.com, hit enter. Now if we look at the request that we are sending, you see that we actually are sending the cookie. Now let me talk about this user agent header. So what is the user agent? The user agent tells the server that you're sending the request to what application you are using to access this resource. For example, in this, the user agent is curl and the version is 7.55.1. If you are using Google, for example, let me do Google, open the developer tools, go to more tools, developer tools, go to the network tab. Yeah, that's where it is. Now let me reload the page. Okay, go to the first request, this one, no, the first request is Google. Now these are, let me do, yeah, the user agent. It should, yeah, see this, as you can see, this is the request headers, and we see the user agent right here. So this is the user agent. It's Mozilla, it's Google Chrome version 89.0.438.9.5082. You can actually change it. Let me do copy it. I did copy it, and now let me go back to the curl, clear the screen. Now how do you do it? So the option is capital A. Let's see what capital A means. Capital A, where is it? This is a very long list. It's okay, it should be somewhere here. Yeah, the user agent, send the user agent to server. Let me do it. So curl -v for verbose, and then capital A, and in between curly braces you actually paste in the user agent and then https, and let me send the cookies along with the request. Cookie was the files Google server, and then https www.google.com. Hit enter, and now we see the conversation, the request, how the request goes. So let me just, I'm interested in the request headers. Okay, so looking at the headers, we see there's a very okay. So see the headers now. The user agent, you see, is changed from the curl and the /version to this string that we have specified. So this is the way that you want to change the user agent that is sent along with the request to the server. Now let me talk about how would you download a file with curl. It's actually, you can do it with curl, and there is two ways. Whether you can there is actually, the difference is there is the dash o lowercase o and the dash uppercase o. I'm gonna see the difference between those two. So let me just go into Google, choose the file to download, and let me just copy the URL of this image and cd into my desktop, clear the screen and curl. Let me dash the lowercase o. Let me go into the help and see what the lowercase o. Let me start with the uppercase o. Uppercase o. So if we see the right output of file named as the remote file, what that means, this means I'm gonna download this image, but I want to save it with the same name as its name on the server, with the same name. So let's see what name is given to it. It's given to it waterfall.jpg. If I did dash o, it's going to be saved with the same name on my desktop. So let me put in the paste, hit enter, and now you see this is the download speed, and it's downloaded. Let me look at my desktop, and this is the waterfall. Okay, so as you can see, we have downloaded successfully the image, and it's on our desktop. Now I want to show you the other way. How would you specify a name for the file that you download from with the curl command? So we use the lowercase o. If we look at the lowercase o output, and you provide the file name right to file instead of std out. Okay, so you do curl dash lowercase o and you give it a name. Let me just say nature custom name dots, and you do the same extension as the one you downloaded. Paste in the URL, and as you can see, it's a JPEG, so you need to save it as JPEG. Hit enter, and it's downloaded, and there it is with custom name, the name we provided. Now let me delete those and go back to show you a very, now you see those numbers, they don't make much sense. They did, but it's hard to say when it's gonna finish. There's actually a way around this. Let me hit upper row to go to the history, and then dash hashtag. It's shift 3 hashtag. Hit enter. Now the progress is gonna be shown as the progress bar instead of those numbers, and you see this is the image. Now at the beginning of the video I talked about the uppercase X option, and which allows you to specify which method you want to use for the request. And I said that the -x, its default is get, but we can do a post as well, and we're gonna see that how would you send data using curl. So what I did is I created a Flask application. It's very simple. It's only listening on port 880, and simply it's accepting in those route on the index route. It's accepting the get method and the post method. It's actually, well, the whole it does is it's taking the data that's been sent along with the request and returning it back. So let me start this, open a new command, and it's my desktop. So I'm gonna cd into desktop, clear the screen, Python, and then server.py. Okay, it should be started. Yeah, it's started and it's running on HTTP on this URL. Let me copy this URL, go in here, and let me clear the screen. And how do you do that? So you've prevented data with -d. -d. If you do -d, then as soon as you do this option, the method that is used is post instead of get, so you don't actually need to specify the method, but we can do it anyway. So you do post dash d, the data, space, and the data, you send the data between codes. For example, let's say name equal team NetShot, and let's specify another one, for example user David, and another argument password. I'm gonna send them to the URL that I have copied, pasted, and hit enter. Now we have the response back. It's simply sending me the data that I sent. That's all about this request. Okay, so that was about the post sending data using the curl. Now let's see. Let's see some. You can, for example, you can use curl with multiple URLs. For example, let me curl dash only the headers, HTTPS. For example, let's see www.google.com, and also Facebook, for example facebook.com. Hit enter, and using the uppercase I, which means we're gonna get only the headers. We don't need this anymore. And as you can see, this is the response that's returned by Google, and this is the response that's returned by Facebook. Now this uppercase I is actually implemented on the Google and on Facebook. But how would you, for example, I want this I to be only on this. I want to return only the headers that's returned by the Google, but for Facebook I want to return the headers and also the response. Now this is where we use the dash. It's somewhere here. The dash next command. Yeah, this is the dash next, or you can simply dash colon. We're gonna use the long version of it, so clear the screen. Now the way you do it is dash I https www.google.com, and then to make this I only work on this URL, and then you provide dash next. So as long as it sees this option, all the options that you specify here work only on this URL, up on all the URLs up to the next option. Now I'm gonna specify the option for the Facebook. Let's say we want to output the response and the headers, so we use the lowercase a https www.facebook.com, hit enter, and as you can see, for Google we got only the response, the headers I mean, and for Facebook we got the headers. This is the headers along with the response. So you use dash next so you can make those options separate to eventually it's separate. Each URL has its own corresponding options. Now one thing that I want to show is dash L, lowercase l. For example, if I do curl dash L, curl dash I, and then google.com, it's gonna give me this response 301 moved permanently, and it's giving me the location http www.google.com, the possible location. It means that Google is no longer, you can no longer access Google using only google.com. You have to use Google http www.google.com. It's curl this URL, Control Shift C to copy, Control Shift V to output, and we're gonna use dash uppercase. It doesn't matter where you specify it, the order doesn't matter. You can either specify the options before the URL or vice versa. It works the same. Now we get 200. Okay, but I don't want to do it like, if it doesn't work, then I want to curl. I want to tell curl to do it automatically for me. If this doesn't work, then use this URL directly. Then you do let me show only the headers, and then lowercase l for location, and then let me do Google as the one we did before, .com, hit enter. I think it's uppercase L. Yeah, it's uppercase L actually, not lowercase l. So uppercase L, hit enter. Now you see it tries this one, it didn't work, we got 302. Now we tried this one and it did work, and we have 200. Okay, now as you start typing those commands, they're gonna start being long commands, and it might not and the command has actually a length size, so you can't go over a certain number of characters in each command. That's why you're gonna try we have actually a way to go around this. So let me make a file, let me request. You're gonna put this command, these options in a text. There it is. And now open this with Notepad, all the options you want to specify, and then use it. For example, I want to do -I. Each command should be in its own corresponding line. For example, I want to show only the headers, and I want to use the get. The options that takes arguments need to be specified within the same line, and --URL. This is the URL, and the URL is https google.com, and save it. And now the way you specify this is you do curl -uppercase K and provide the name of the file where you stored the arguments. Hit enter, and it's gonna work the same. If you have simple, like not very long command, you can type it in here. But if you have some long commands, for example, I want to do another and then I want to do the other options, like for example -x post, and then -d to specify the data for, like example name, team, NetShot, and page index, and --URL http 127.0.0.1. Want to save it, and now we can execute. As you see, this is a long, approximately long command, but you get the idea. You can use curl and then -uppercase K request, hit enter, and you get the response. This is the first request for the Google, and this is the response of the second request. So that was it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I want to provide you with the you can go ahead to the curl everything.curl.dev website, and you can check the they have a online book that you can read through and explore all the different options of the curl. We have the index in the side here, for example, using how to HTTP with curl. We have different protocols, ranges, HTTP versions, redirects, and all the different things. You explore them and play along some time with it, and you figure it out and you get used to it. Okay, that was it. If you find the video helpful, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and have a good day.